he was.
Yes, yeah.
And the first jobs were easy in that we were digging on each side of where it had all been surveyed, as I told you earlier. Everything had been surveyed and the trees cut down, and you know, the way where
the trace
you knew where the embankments had to be built.
Yes.
And then you dug out here. You'd have 3 men in the pit. Oh, no, 2 men in the pit and 4 men carrying, and they were baskets. And you'd have a fella on each side, one out here, you know, like that, see? And a big basket, so you could put about 100 weight of dirt on them. And we were building up this thing, and the Jap engineers would say, it doesn't matter about that bamboo root, just cover it up so the boss and the chief engineer doesn't see it, it'll be right. And this was the railway we were building.
Yes.
And this went on for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And we had to dig a cubic metre or something.
Yes.
And then you can go home.
Yeah.
Well, then the next day we all went home too early, so it was 2 cubic metres, and then the day after that I remember it was 3 cubic metres.
Now where we...
And we worked too hard, there's no doubt about it.
So you're in Hintok road camp. How far did you have to go to work on the railway?
Anything, walk anything up to 5 kilos away.
Yeah, and was there any particular difficulty in getting there from Hintok road camp?
Huh?
Was there any particular difficulty in getting there? Like,
once the rains came, of course, yes, it was all you could do to walk on the track.
But directly opposite Hintok...
yes, it was a mountain ridge.
Yes.
Yeah, and the railway was the other side of it.
Yes,
you had to climb over this.
Yeah.
And there was even a log with things
notched
nailed
steps
on it or chopped out to climb up.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the way. And then, of course, they were using the river to bring rice up.
Yes.
And then we'd have to cart the rice from the river camp up to the road camp.
Which is quite a long way.
It was quite a long way, yes. It was about 5 kilos.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you've done embankment work. Did you do any other work?
And then we were in bridge, pile driving for bridges.
Yes.
You know, we'd all sing, and you know, on the right note, you'd let her go, and down the bike would go.
Where did you do that? Do you know where you did that?
Well, it was in that area, on the big bend. I've been back there.
Yes.
And the river camp was right on a bend of the river.
Yeah.
And the road camp was sort of straight up.
Yeah.
Either due east or due west.
Yeah.
Up over the hill, over that ridge, which was pretty steep.
So that bridge that you're talking about, was that what they call the 3-tiered bridge?
One of the bridges at Hintok was why you had 3 tiers was that the logs, no logs were more than about 20 feet. Some length like that. They were all cut to the same length. And they'd build a bridge with logs.
Yes.
And then they'd build another bridge on
another
top
level,
of it.
yes.
And then they'd build another one on top of it.
Yes, yeah.
And that pack of cards bridges, they called it, it fell down 3 times in being built. And then the Japs were getting a bit annoyed about it towards the end because they're getting pushed to finish the railway. So they wanted the thing open.
Yes.
Which they did open it in October, and it was extraordinary. And it was done so quickly. But then it was a pretty rough job.
So, you've probably been there 3 or 4 months now.
Oh yes. Well, in June I think it was. In June, I got pneumonia.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And first before that, I had when we stopped for a smoko, working on, now this was on where the railway was on the side of a hill, and we were hammer and tap cutting the rock, and then all the debris, instead of using it to make an embankment, the next bit all just tossed over the side, rolled down to the river.
Yes.
It was just sheer waste.
Yes.
They were absolute deals as Jap engineers.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But that was the first time, one smoker in the afternoon, I was sitting on a log and it rolled on me. It's the rope that then pushed my leg underneath it on top of a nice rock.
Yes.
And I've still got the scar on my leg there.
Yes, yes.
And I was carted into by 4 of them on a stretcher and then to the camp.
Yes.
Where either Weary Dunlop or Ewan Corlett would have been the MO that saw me, and I got a few days, couple of days or something.
So were you taken back up to the road camp or down to the river camp?
Oh, the road camp.
Yes,
and
okay.
back to the road camp.
Yeah. Now,
and in those days, Weary Dunlop was our CO for about a fortnight when we were at that road camp.
Now, on the road camp, do you remember Major Woods building the shower system and all that sort of
Woods
thing?
and Wern were both there then, weren't they?
Yeah, and Jock Clark.
And Jock Clark, yeah. And they, we had probably the best shower system of the railway line because we had a bamboo platform and we had spring water piped down in bamboo pipes. And so you had running showers perpetually. And, you know, we had several of them.
Yes.
And, of course, before you knew where you were, the Japs wanted them.
Yes.
And there was a bitter battle there.
Yes.
And we won it too. We retained our showers.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Now, did you, in Hintok Road Camp, was there a British camp in there as well?
Only, yes, there was a British camp alongside us.
And were there...
And they were there when the cholera broke out.
Yeah. Any coolies?
And they lost a lot of troops with cholera.
Yes.
I can't remember how many we lost, but when I had this pneumonia, as they had no treatment for me, they decided the only thing they could do with me was put me in the cholera tent.
Yes.
And there was at least one cholera tent. It might have been more than one, but the one, it was a 4-man tent. It wasn't one of these ones that the splits the material. It was an army tent.
Yeah.
And it would normally have 4 people in it, but it would have had 8. See, there'd be 4 on each side.
I understand.
And I was number 2 on this side. The fellow here died. The one on that side died. No, I told the orderly that he drunk out of my water bottle, and I wasn't going to touch it anymore.
Yes.
And I can't remember when he died, but the 2 on the other side too. They were, and see, it's terribly rapid.
Yes.
Cholera, you know, in 12 hours, you're just nothing. You're just skin and bone, and all the liquid in your body's disappeared.
Do you remember the name of any of those orderlies that looked after you?
No, unfortunately. I've tried very hard to find the name of one that returned to Toowoomba or places.
Yes, yes.
And he used to come to our Christmas parties.
Yes.
And I can't find anybody else that can remember his name either.
Now, also in Hintok River Camp, were there any elephants?
Any?
Elephants?
Not at the river camp there weren't.
No, at the road camp.
Neither nor the road camp. We never had any elephants ourselves.
Yeah. Did you have any coolies?
They used to turn up though on a job.
Yes.
But I mean, where they came from, where they camped at night, I have no idea.
Did you have
nothing to do with our camp.
Did you have any coolies there?
When we were at the river camp, yes, we had a huge camp of them, just up the slope of the ground, so that when the wet was on, and there might have been cholera germs on that ground there, it was all washed down through our camp.
Yes.
And you know, it was just slurry. You have no idea what it was like when the wet was on.
Yeah. Now that you've talked about the river camp.
Yeah.
When did you move down there?
Move from it?
No, when did you move from the road camp down to the river camp?
I would say about August.
And what work were you doing from the river camp?
I would say we were building bridges mostly.
Yeah, because
and
the railway trace from
it's uphill above, just behind the camp, but up,
it's a hell of a climb.
Another 100 feet higher than we were.
It's a hell of a climb to get up.
Yes, and particularly if you had a bag of cement on your shoulder. And then also, the sleepers were about 1 metre apart. And you had to walk up with a bag of cement on your shoulder, and your sleepers were about that far apart. Yeah. And you know, it was a sheer drop underneath, and a few did die from falling.
Yeah. Now, in river camp, Chief Petty Officer Ray Parkin was there. Did you know him when you were a POW?
I can't remember him.
No. Do you remember at the river camp that there was a funicular lift to bring stuff up from the river? There was rigged up.
When we were there.
No, well, he in his book he
Parkin designed it, didn't
he? Yeah, what he had to do, because he was a sailor, he was actually able to lash the...
oh, he knew how to do it,
to get it up there. Yeah. Talking about Parkin, he managed to do drawings while he was in that camp.
Yeah.
Would you have had time to do drawings?
No, of course not. No. I don't know how he would have done it.
No.
See, we had several of them who did very good drawings.
Yes.
Jack Chalker, the English one, he was an English artilleryman.
Yes.
I knew him quite well.
Yeah.
And
was he in your camp?
No, I only met him I can't remember when I first met him, but he was in this camp alongside us, I think, at Hintok.
Hintok River or Hintok
No, that was up at the road camp. See, the adjoining camp was up at the road camp.
Yes, yeah.
And when I've met him since, he's died since.
No, he's still alive.
He's still alive? But he sold all his paintings, hasn't he?
Yes.
The War Memorial bought them.
Oh, the Australian government bought them.
The government bought them.
With the assistance of the lotteries, the Tattersalls in Victoria.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, they paid $250,000 for them.
Yeah, I know they cost a lot. But they were very good drawings of the medical ones that I'm talking about.
Yes,
See, they were medical evidence.
Yes. Yeah. Now, where did you go after you finished working on Hintok River Camp?
Well, I think groups of us went downriver to Tarso.
And who did you go with? Who was in charge when you went down there?
Oh, I've no idea. We were just a group on a barge.
Yes.
And they were all the barges, pulled by one of these tuk-tuk boats.
Yeah. Let me ask you, see, with the mob that Weary brought up from Java, there were 19 officers. There was a Major de Crespigny. Do you remember him at all? De Crespigny, yeah. Do you remember Lieutenant Fred Smedley?
Eh?
Lieutenant, Fred Smedley.
Smedley, no.
No. Well, do you remember?
Crepney I should know something about because my son's sister-in-law married at Crepney.
Yes. Yeah. He had a nickname. I just can't remember what it is at the moment. But
they're South Australians, aren't they?
No, that I don't know.
No, you don't know. You don't know any South Australians in Western Australia?
No.
No, I thought so.
There was something else. Oh, yes. What about Arthur Moon? Did you... Major Moon?
No, I can't remember him there.
Yeah, so
we did have a lot of doctors. There was one called Hinder.
David Hinder.
David Hinder.
Yeah.
And of course Corlett, and there was another one, Corlett's mate, I can't remember his name, but they were
there was a captain...
second CCS.
Yeah, well there was a Captain Tim Godley.
Oh, Tim Godley, yes.
Yeah. Do you remember anything about him?
Except that he was in our camp, but not permanently. They seem to be moving around all the time.
He moved around, and of course he was actually the doctor that belonged to the 2nd 3rd Machine Gun Battalion.
Oh, did he?
He wasn't a CCS doctor.
Oh, he was a second 30th.
Yeah,
was he?
2nd 3rd.
2nd 3rd.
Yeah, Machine Gun Battalion. Yeah.
Oh, the machine gunners.
Yeah. So he'd come from
weren't they?
Yeah, he'd come from the Middle East.
Yeah.
And
they were West Australian.
Yeah. One company was West Australian.
One company was West Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were 7th Divi, weren't they?
Yes. Now, you went down to Tarso, did you? With
yeah, I think we were in Tarso then for probably 6 weeks, quite a while.
So that was a huge camp, wasn't it?
And it was a huge camp, and we were all we were dysentery and malaria cases, all of us.
Yes.
And you'd be flat out getting a working party out of the camp, and they were all so sick.
Did you ever hear of a Dr. Major Alan Hazelton?
Oh, Hazelton, oh yes, he was one of the ones we had somewhere in that area.
Yes, yeah. He was the senior medical